Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome to episode 71 of Europa Universalis IV as France. I only just realised how far along the game has progressed. We are currently in 1675 and the game actually ends, I think it's the 1st of January in 1821. So we only have about 145 years to actually get anything else done. Now we are currently first in terms of score. But I really need to start thinking about what my intentions are for endgame, what I want to aim towards, what I want to do. Ideally, my major goal, what I'd love to be able to do is completely wipe out the HRE, but I think given the amount of time we have left, that is probably going to be very, very unlikely. Luckily, there aren't all that many nations left in the HRE anymore. The HRE is actually a very, very small collection of countries now. We've wiped out the majority of the HRE. It's looking very, very small. Who's current emperor? I can never remember who this is. It is Bohemia. I mean, there are still some scary powers here in the HRE. Austria is still quite scary. We do need to take a good chunk from Austria at some point. Bohemia's actually quite small. Bohemia only have 3 provinces, given the fact that they're actually the, the leaders of the HRE. Brandenburg could be quite scary later on. Who are Bohemia allied with, actually? Yeah, Saxony, Milan, Russia. Wow, okay. So they've got Russia fighting in their corner. But we could still do some damage to the HRE. If we actually look at the Imperial map mode, we can see that there's quite a lot that we'd have to take. So it's probably unlikely that's going to happen. I'd like to finish off England because, well, finish off Great Britain. I've started, I might as well finish. And Castile. Although Castile hasn't really been a priority, it would be nice to take some more of their land because there's a lot of coastline here we could take. And even though that coastline isn't necessarily going to help us with taking the HRE, more coastline is more ships and it's more trade power. And of course, the more land we have, the higher force limit we have. Also, as far as North America goes, I'm going to try and colonize as much of it as possible. I think what I will actually start doing now as well is I will, when one of my colonists becomes free, I'm actually going to send them over to the west coast and start colonizing over on the west coast here. Try and get as much of the coastline gobbled up as possible, because if there's no coastline for other people to land on, then they can't take it. It would be nice to actually go up here and grab these 2 provinces. I'm surprised they haven't been nabbed yet. I mean, it is pretty crappy territory, but I'm surprised it hasn't been taken. So I may very well go ahead and take that. Not too sure why that's terra incognita. Surely there can't actually be anything there that can actually be used, any of these little islands. I don't think they're actually inhabitable provinces or anything like that. So yeah, we'll still try and get as much of America as we can. Now, one thing that I do just want to have one quick look at is just have a quick look and see if there's a coalition against us, because I can't remember. There isn't a coalition at the moment, though there are quite a few people who really dislike me. One of those, obviously, is Great Britain, because we've taken so much from them, so they really, really don't like me at all. Not currently involved in any wars, so we could get involved in some wars. I guess we could go over here and actually start fighting some wars against some of the natives. And I'm in the... What map mode am I in here? I don't know what I was in there, but I couldn't see what I needed to. So yeah, it would be nice to actually declare some more wars against these guys. We can't really go up against the... well, we could go against the Pawnee. I mean, they don't directly border us. Gain some population. There we go, another 5 army tradition. Now we can pick up a new mission. Fortify Cape Coast. We can go and do that. Oh, that'll give us manpower and army tradition. Well, the army tradition's nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So, Cape Coast, we need to improve that. So, let's go down here. And it's this one. Well, let me click on it for some reason. There we go. Go into buildings. We'll go ahead and build an earthen rampart there. Now, I do still want to try and get as many of the trade buildings and things down in this area as possible. So, trade depots we've already got. Canals we can sort of start getting here now, so let's go ahead and drop in the canals where we can. What percentage of trade do we have down here actually? Where are we? Subjects, trade, company, they're in here somewhere. By type. They still only have 42% of the 52.4 of the province trade power. There's a total of 315.4. We must have at least 51%. We currently only have 16.6. It's very unlikely we're going to get any unless we start nabbing some stuff off Portugal, because Portugal have got a lot of power down here. But if we're going to start on Portugal, we need to get Castile out of the way first. But that is something that we will get to when we get to. Let's have a look over here. Do we want to actually declare war against any of these people over here? Well, we could actually go ahead and declare war against the Pawnee over here. Now, we don't have any diplomats to send, which is our first problem. You're improving relationships with Venice. Corsica. Let's just remove you slightly. Now, do we have a CB against these guys is the first question here. Yes, we do. None of our allies would come in, but that's fine. They don't have any... Oh, we have a truce. Okay. Got to be careful there. We do have a truce that we don't want to break, so that's fine. So, is there anybody else that we could declare war on? What have we got over here? The Huron. Could we declare war on the Huron? They're a little bit difficult to get to. What about if we actually tried to declare war on some of England's lands? I guess that would be breaking a truce as well. Yeah, it would be breaking a truce, which we don't want to do because we don't... I mean, we could eat the stability. That's not a problem at all. What about over here? What about the Navajo? We don't have a truce with them, and we have a CB. So let's go ahead and declare war. I'll unpause. I shouldn't have to do an awful lot. I'm very much hoping that French Mexico is going to come and deal with that problem. It certainly looks like they are. You are my guy. I'd kind of like you to head up and meet these guys up here, but you're going to carry on and do some more exploring for the time being. They've got quite a lot of troops there, actually. It's a lot more than I was expecting. Although it looks like French Louisiana are going to come and throw down as well. So I don't think we have to worry too much about those guys. We should be okay. I could bring these guys back, but I do want to try and do as much of the discovery up here as possible. And even though they do have an awful lot more troops than we do, you've got to remember the fact that... they're sufficiently behind in tech. I mean, look at this. We've got a stack of 5 or 6 men versus their stack of 14, and we're winning. So we don't really have a problem with them. Royal marriage offer from the Commonwealth. We definitely want to accept. And we'll just keep going around up here. Obviously, some of these places are a little bit far to reach. Now, I'm not sure whether or not any of the Far Eastern powers ever colonized the west coast of... oh, gold. Brilliant. I'm not too sure if any of the Western powers... sorry, the Eastern powers like, you know, China, Ming, Korea. I don't know if any of... Or Japan. I don't know if any of these ever actually colonized the western coast of North America. I've never seen it happen. Doesn't mean that it doesn't. Just look at this. End of the English Civil War. The English Civil War is finally over. William of Leicester and his parliamentarians crushed the royalist faction. Okay, fair enough. So I don't think we're going to have to do a lot here. I think French Louisiana and French Mexico between them will be able to deal with that. So we'll just keep going around over here. There's a lot of places that we can still uncover. Hopefully we're going to get to the sort of top provinces at the moment. Can we go further? We do have a conquistador here, don't we? Yes. Not sure why it wouldn't let me go there. Or maybe we'll just work across here. And then we'll start heading our way back down. We'll uncover these little areas as we go. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. In fact, French Mexico is going to go and stack wipe them. And I've not really had to do anything about that at all. So what can we get here? Trade company in trouble. We can get minus 10% trade efficiency. Or we can get plus 10 unrest in Cape Coast, and they lose some local trade power for 10 years. Yeah, we'll take the local unrest. I'm not bothered. Not too bothered about those provinces. If we can actually make a trade company work, then we can make a trade company work. But if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. I'm not terribly fussed one way or another. Just doing it for a bit of fun, more than anything. Oh, more fur. What a surprise. So trying to uncover as much of this territory as possible. Still trying to consider whether or not I want to try and have a pop at Castile. It might be the time for it. In fact, so much so, let's go have a look and see what the story is here. So if I were to go... I mean, Castile hate me anyway. they are allied with Portugal. They are allied with Quinto and allied with Tuscany. Now, Tuscany is a possible issue, although they only seem to have a couple of provinces, so they're not that big of an issue. What do they have in terms of army numbers? Let's go and have a look at their military. Military armies, Castile. Well, they have 104k men, so Castile have got a lot of men. I still want to take Castile, but I would prefer to wait until they are in a relevant war. They are in a war there, but I mean, that's about as relevant as the war that I'm in. I want to wait until they're actually fighting with their natives. Sorry, not fighting with the natives, so we've actually got some chance of taking them out. So, what about if we were to go over here and say, for example, try and take a chunk out of Holland? Because Holland don't like us either. We don't have a CB at the moment, so it would give us some additional war exhaustion. Now, Bohemia would come in on their behalf, of course, because it's the HRE, so Milan, Munster, Frankfurt, and Great Britain would as well. None of our allies would be willing to come in at this point. I doubt we're ever going to be able to diplo-vassalize these guys. I mean, they are in the HRE, but they're not an elector. Oh, they are an elector now. Holland are actually an elector now. And it has subjects of its own. And it has more than 40 base total. Okay, so the only way we're going to get anything from Holland is if we go and attack them. So what would we like to take? Well, ideally, we would like to take Amsterdam, because Amsterdam has the Rhine estuary and it's an important centre of trade. But of course, we can't take that directly because it is their capital. So let's go ahead and start fabricating a claim on Zeeland. We'll see if we can grab that first. We might try and take Utrecht from them as well, because, well, that won't... I don't think that will technically isolate Amsterdam, because it will still have this strait to Friesland. But maybe it'll certainly take them down a chunk or two. And we'll have to see who will be willing to jump in, because obviously if the HRE gets involved, it makes life a little bit difficult. But I think we'll be able to manage overall. We've got a lot of allies ourselves, even though they probably won't really get involved. That's that upgrade done down there that we were working on. So what we do need to do is that is going to need a canal. Oh, no, apparently it already has one. So we already have canals there. What about road networks? Yep, we can get road networks down here. All of these things increase trade power. So, road network, road network, road network, road network, road network, road network. Okay. We've got a new quest. Colonise somewhere, claim our rival's province, Lancashire, and claim Milan. Military power and prestige. That could actually be quite good. Well, we can certainly make a claim. Make a claim on Lancashire, which is in Great Britain, up in the north. Do we really want to... where is it? It's here. Do we really want to actually take it, though? Probably do. Don't have a free diplomat at the moment. Do I want to pull any of these guys back? Some of them are working because I want to try and integrate some of these vassals. So maybe I'll wait until we've finished... fabricating a claim over here. How is our little war going? They haven't actually sieged out either of those provinces yet. It shouldn't take them too long, so I'm not too concerned about that. We can lose the stability or lose 20 army tradition. I'm going to lose the stability because it's easier to buy stability than it is to buy army tradition. We'll carry on over here, see where we end up. And that said, let's go ahead and... what do we like tech-wise? Tech, we are still well ahead of time. Ideas, we have military ideas, so let us go ahead and we will boost our stability. Keep it up to 2. I'm not going to go all the way up to 3. There's really no need to do that there. What else would I like to do? I guess one thing that we could do, which is not something that I've spent a lot of time considering, but we could do some culture changes. Now, that uses diplomatic power. We're not really using Diplo for anything at the moment. We don't have any Diplo ideas. We are slightly behind on Diplo tech, though. So we should probably save up some power and get some Diplo tech. But yeah, we could certainly do some culture changes, which would really help. What is our... yeah, we've got a rank 3 Diplo leader, and I'm quite happy with the PowerPoint spread, actually. Although I guess we don't need that many in admin. I guess we could just go 9s across the board. That seems much more evenly distributed. So let's stick with that then. So, not an awful lot going on here. Yeah, Holland have got a few ships. I don't think they've got enough to really bother me. That's what I should be doing as well, if I haven't already, is just assigning these guys to a control group. It'll make them so much easier to find later on. You can tell they're in a control group now because they've got a little number next to them there. So if I'm ever off them and I just hit that number, it will go directly to them. I'm really not sure how far we can go here. I really don't know where it's possible to get to. Oh, I'm paused. That's not helping. Because there's still quite a lot of land that you just can't reach, but we'll have to come back sooner or later. Surprised these guys aren't actually taking any attrition, considering the type of terrain that they're in. There we go. Right, looks like we can't actually get to here without ships of some description. Right, we've got a call to arms. Before we deal with that, let's get these guys back over to here. Okay, so the nation of Portugal is requesting that we come to their aid in their conquest of Tangiers against Morocco, the Timurids, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to say yes, because it's a war that I won't really need to get involved in, and I think Portugal will win it with ease, so we don't need to worry too much about doing that. They will have some ships, but I don't think they've got anywhere near enough ships to be able to be a threat to me. Yeah, I was just checking to see if Castile was involved in this war as well. They're not. I think Portugal are going to win this without too much of a problem. Hopefully it's not going to be one of those wars that drags on forever, though, because like I said, I do have a little bit of coring that I want to do, so we will have to keep our eye on that. Natives, population, brilliant. Russia's announced me as a rival. Fantastic, that's all I need. CBs, fighting natives... 79%, not yet. We'll wait until this last one's ticked over, which won't take too long. By which time we'll have this guy free. I'm not going to send this diplomat back out because I'll save him so that he can actually make the peace deal with these guys. It looks like we've got some issues with nationalists here. Although I think these guys will be able to deal with them as soon as this siege ticks over. It is taking quite some time. I stand corrected. It actually looks like Portugal so far is losing more than they're gaining. It's probably a couple of minor provinces on the fringes of their territories that they've not really been able to do an awful lot to fight against. So, in fact, we can actually have a look. Yeah, there's been no battles. It's probably just ticking war score of the war goal. Yeah, it's ticking war score. It's just because the defenders actually... The war goal is to take Tangiers, and Tangiers is currently held by the defenders, so it's just ticking war score. Why was I sucking up to Venice? Not there's a lot left of Venice, but there must have been a reason. They're not going to accept vassalization, mainly because of tax base, their merchant republic, and distance between borders. I don't know why I was sucking up to them, but... oh well, it doesn't hurt. We do have another free diplomat now, so I guess we can go ahead and fabricate a claim on Lancashire, just so that we can go ahead and get that quest completed. Got to be careful, of course, because we could get more aggressive expansion if caught. Not that it's going to really matter against Great Britain, because we have a massive amount of aggressive expansion against them already. Looks like we can't get over here, so we are going to march our way back down. Go down to there. In fact, we're going to go all the way down to here. We have 100% war score now in this war. So let's go and sue for peace. And we want full annexation. Send demands. And there we go. The Navajo no longer exists. Now, you'll see we have one over here, which is actually French territory. This one isn't actually part of French Mexico. This one is in another colonial region, and it is part of colonial California. So that's what we're going to be looking at doing next. So we've got a colony that has become self-sustaining. Which is this one? No. This one. You've become self-sustaining. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start working on colonial California. So let us go ahead and grab some of the coast first, I think. In fact, we don't want to go through there because we're going to end up running into those rebels. But we'll go through and we'll start work. Do I go for this one first and work out towards the coast? I think we grab the coast first and work in. We can do a conversion. Let's go ahead and do that. We might end up with some unrest, of course, because we're converting Native Americans to our own religion. There is still some stuff in the middle here that we need to explore. I think I might actually go ahead and do that first before we start heading further south. Was kind of hoping some of these guys would come over and fight against the nationalists there. Considering they are in French Mexico, and Mexico does have their own troops, I really am surprised they haven't come in and tried to fight. In fact, you guys can group up and go together. Could bring these guys down and try and do something with them, but it seems a little bit pointless. Come on, Portugal. I'm very surprised that you are losing this battle. I thought you'd have been doing much better. And we need them to sort that out. But this is probably a good point to end the video, so I'm going to stop there. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you are still enjoying Europa Universalis IV. And I'll see you next time. So until then, goodbye for now.